Hello and welcome to The Best Of. On The Best Of, we focus on the best in the areas of business, entertainment, sports, and the community. As we have been talking about, we have been dedicating the show to sports and preparing for either life after sports or for that plan B. And I can't think of a better way to spend the day or invest in the day than with the people that we're going to have as our guests today. I don't know what I did to deserve it, but we were really fortunate and blessed to have not only one, but two Turners with us. Our special guests today are Mr. Andre Turner, better known as the General, and Mrs. Desma Turner, better known as the General. I kind of added that. We've been talking some, and quite honestly, I think both of these people are just really incredible. Mr. Turner, thank you so much for joining us.
My absolute pleasure.
And Mrs. Turner, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
We are really happy to have you here, and I know that whatever time we have, even if it were an 8-hour show, we wouldn't be able to cover everything that we have to share. So we're just going to go ahead and find out some things about the two of you. And if you don't mind, Mr. Turner, I'm kind of partial to young ladies. Since my mom, I'm kind of a mama's guy, if you will. So Mrs. Turner, will you tell us some things about you first?
Well, I'm a mother of 5 girls, and I'm a housewife part-time and a businesswoman the other part, half of the time.
Awesome. That is great.
I grew up in South Memphis, went to Mitchell High School.
All right.
Played basketball, played at the University of Memphis with my husband. Then he proposed to me, and I married him, and we went abroad, played a few years in the NBA, and then I spent 10 to maybe 12 years in Europe.
Oh, wow,
While he
great.
played basketball, raised our family. And then once he retired, we came back to Memphis.
Great. Awesome.
So.
Wow. And we're going to talk a little bit later about your game, because I understand you've got a few things that you've been teaching him along. I'm going to get myself in real big trouble, all right? Okay, Mr. Turner, let's find out some things about you so I can get myself off the hot seat now.
I know that's right. This is a good idea, Mr. Tucker. Of course, I'm born and raised Memphian. Love my city, where I'm from. Grew up in South Memphis as well. As a matter of fact, grew up about, if I jogged real good, I could probably get to my wife's place in about 5 minutes. We actually grew up that close to one another, not knowing it initially, but later on found out that we actually lived that close. But I got bussed out to Havenview Junior High, where I ended up going to junior high school. I went to elementary school right around my neighborhood. And then I came back to Mitchell High School, where the Mighty Tigers, as we won the state championship. I put a little plug in there for my basketball guys. But I then left and was fortunate enough to earn a full scholarship to Memphis State University at the time. Yeah. And afterwards was blessed enough to go and spend about 3 to 4 years playing professionally in the NBA and in other various teams. I've played in so many different leagues and so many different teams, within the NBA, and then was fortunate enough to go over in Spain and spend about to the tune of about 15 years professionally in Spain.
Just listening to you say that, I thought of something I hadn't thought about the entire time that we have been talking and meeting. In the process, or during the process of playing all of those places, moving around, taking your family, what do you think is important for you to hold on to, and what skills do you think are really important to be able to just adapt and to just go with all of those changes?
Well, just that, and what I found is that children have a tendency to adapt way easier than grown-ups sometimes, and we just being in the profession of basketball, it teaches you so much, and there's a immediate carryover, to life, because within sports, you have but what working hard means, having a real work ethic. In life, you got to have it. Being responsible. You have to be responsible. Being dedicated. Being trustworthy. Sports teaches you so much, and I find myself harping and preaching on it a lot, with the guys that I, come in contact with, being a assistant basketball coach, and also where I work with Shelby County School System, excuse me,
Right.
And also just as well, within our church life, the number of guys that I have an opportunity to come in contact with.
Well, that's great. We have something that is a program called Coach Rick's Winners, and our goal really is to help young athletes and their family to just adapt to and make sure that they're prepared for that next step, whatever that is. And we want them to bring their A game. We call them the ABCs. My wife put this together. The ABCs: bring your A game, plan B, and career and college transition. I know, too, that it was really tough for you having to go and play all of those teams. But Mrs. Turner, also with you having been an athlete as well, but your roles just really grew incredibly, because you went from being a team member and a player to having a family, and then going and supporting Mr. Turner. What were some of the attributes, or what are some of the things that you think helped you, or skills that you learned as a player to help you to be a mother, a wife, and to really keep the family going?
Well, my mother and father raised me up in the church, and Christian people, so I had good ground, a good foundation.
Great.
And that carried me. And then by me being an athlete as well, I could adapt to the lifestyle that Andre was, coming into being a professional player. And because I dated him in really middle school, because I met him when I was 14. So just building a relationship with him and a bond and being able to trust him. So it was easy for me to make that transition, especially when he decided to go to Europe. And when he went, I just told him, when you go and get set up, then I'll come.
Awesome.
And I'll bring the kid. We only had one baby then, so I feel like that I could relate to that because I was an athlete. So we had a lot in common with practicing and traveling. So that was easy for me. And I think the biggest sacrifice was that I understood that that was going to provide for the family. And that was our means of taking care of the family. So with that in mind, that was easy. And it made us grow, it made us stronger. I've seen other couples that came overseas who wasn't able to make it. Some wives left their husbands. Some girlfriends left their boyfriends over there because they couldn't adapt and they couldn't sustain. So, I feel like I went in with an advantage. And because me and him, we grew up together, so it was almost like we were brothers and sisters in a way. And then we became husband and wife. And that made it easy. And Andre is real humble and real reserved, so it's easy to talk to him.
Yeah, that's
so,
awesome.
And the communication is really the key when you're going through something like that.
Yeah. Wow, just in that small amount of time, you said a lot. You said a tremendous amount. The one thing that caught my attention was lifestyle. When you talked about that lifestyle, because that's what gets a lot of our athletes, both males and females. But when you talked about adapting to that lifestyle and you being his support system, and helping him to, you all collectively, to grow that firm foundation. That is awesome, I tell you. Man, it's almost giving me because it's, you know, the one thing that I can say is that the beauty of this is you guys just seem to be so well suited. You talked about the Christian values, and I've been in some meetings with Mr. Turner. I promise you, you don't have to worry about it because we are going to pray either when we first get there or before we leave, and I love that. I mean, I love that because I know that's the foundation for my wife's and my relationship, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Mr. Turner, from your side, oh man, you're just kind of doing the easy stuff. You just playing, you know.
That's it. That's it, man. That's it. Because believe you me, the work is being done at home.
Yeah,
you
yes,
just believe
indeed.
that for sure.
Let's talk about your young ladies. Do either of them play basketball?
Not a single one.
Really? Okay.
Not a single one.
Wow.
But we do have one that she's going on to college now, and soccer is over for her. But we have two more that are in middle school who are playing soccer, so they absolutely love the game of soccer.
Wow.
And we enjoy going there and supporting and watching them play and get after it, and you know, being aggressive, you know, on the field, and Dad on the sideline running up and down cheering and screaming with the other parents like, who's the crazy guy, you know, over on the sideline screaming the entire while.
Certainly.
They have basketball burnout.
Okay, I got you. Well, you know something, it's like other skills, at least they're transferable, so they're still interested and they're still
sports.
active, so that's really good.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk a bit about, because I know that the two of you are really wise, as we talk about that plan B for young people, from a young lady's perspective, what kinds of advice, for example, I've shared with Mr. that my wife and I are fortunate enough to serve as the life and business coaches and advisor for a young lady who plays in Romania.
Wow.
And she has shared with me some things that she has faced, but the beauty of it is she handles it so well. What kind of advice would you share with young ladies as it relates to sports and balancing life as well?
Well, I think that the parent is the most important guide for the child. So whatever the parent lays forth for the child to understand as far as morals, values, religion, education, that's going to be the foundation of the home.
Right.
So when that is in the home, then the kid is going to struggle. And I really feel like that's what's really going on with a lot of kids now in the community and all over the United States. The parent is the role model.
Yeah.
And these
Turner,
kids don't have a role model.
Absolutely. Mr. Turner, we have seen just so much in the news in all sports with our young guys. And I know that, I mean,